Uh, why is it not working? Oh, right. Wrong hotkey. There we go. Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to the Warcraft replay here. This is going to be a tournament game that was requested by Metaphysics, and this is going to be the semifinals of Warcraft Gold League that was played in summer, or in my country it's winter, and yeah, semifinals. This is going to be game 2, and the score is currently 1-0 for 120. This is a Night Elf versus Undead matchup. Moon spawning in as the blue Night Elf and 120 spawning in as the red Undead. So yeah,
Our sacred grove is being desecrated.
Kind of forgot to change the top left. That shouldn't be a ladder game, it should be a tournament game, but oh well. Other than that, everything is just fine and dandy. Patch is still 1.31. This particular game was played, I think, end of June, so it's been quite a while, but I have been kind of slacking. We do see an extremely early ghoul being brought over here. He did try and get these guys to aggro onto the Ancient of War, but it seems like the aggro just got reset and Ancient of War will be able to live with about half health. It will make tanking things a little bit more difficult. Might have to bring in a Wisp to tank some things, but since Ancients can eat trees to heal up, I don't think it will be that difficult, especially with the Keeper first, who will be bringing along those treants. Let's go over to... Okay. What is going on here? We don't have the tracker, which is really weird. That's kind of the reason why NetEase is pretty useful, but this is going to be a little tough to keep track of. Either way, we are going to start at the Renegade Wizard here. I believe the same thing is going to go on for 120, who did start with the Death Knight first. It seems like, oh, second Necropolis. This does tend to be a mass ghoul opening. We are skipping the Tomb of Relics, we're skipping the Graveyard. Necropolis has been placed down because it only has a gold cost, so you don't have to worry about, or you can worry, or it allows you to be a little bit lenient with your lumber gathering, I guess, because it's basically just a bigger ziggurat. But yeah, haven't seen this opening in quite some time. We are just gonna go for one camp into Murloc camp for the Keeper of the Grove. I'm not gonna go for the complete. Oh, actually, he did go for the complete camp. Okay, never mind. Strange. I could have sworn that the second camp gives level 2 fully, but I guess that was mistaken, or... either way, he will be able to clear out 3 camps very quickly. Mantle of Intelligence, as well as the Circlet for the Keeper. Pretty good start. Meanwhile, the Death Knight got himself the Circlet, and that's it. Level 2 for him, as we do start with the Unholy Aura and most likely Death Coil. Keeper is tossing a couple of birds at the Death Knight. Quite a good number of good amount of damage there, especially since the Keeper is pretty stacked on his damage right now with the 2 items he has and a possible Entangle. Oh, not quite yet. I believe Entangle is equal to the attack range for the Keeper, so needs to be a little closer than usual. But other than that, Death Knight's taking a beating, which is not good. He picks up TV Staff, which obviously doesn't work so well if you didn't actually burn the Entangle first. It's constructing Necropolis. I'm pretty sure this is tier 2 instead. Yeah, because I could have sworn this Necropolis was already built. So he is taking up with this Necropolis, which is kind of weird, but I guess he just wants the tower effect, I guess, from the Necropolis on the further one. We are gonna have a ghoul being played around with. Entangle is not gonna happen as the Keeper is out of mana, and that is a out of mana Death Knight as well. So a lot of investment into keeping that ghoul alive, but a lot was spent to try and kill the ghoul as well, so yeah, a bit bad, but at least the Moon Walls will make things a lot easier for Moon. Keeper still at level 2, hasn't actually done too much. Which camp did he do? I could have sworn he actually did this camp, but I guess not. He was pushed away by the Death Knight. Is gonna go for the other Cobalt camp. Actually, no, he hasn't even done his, so yeah, a little confusing here. We are gonna have the Alchemist coming out as the second hero. This is 1.31, so this is nerfed Alchemist. He does have a cooldown on Healing Spray now, and I believe Acid Bomb does even less damage, because I'm pretty sure his Acid Bomb got touched in 1.30 and it got touched again in 1.31. So yeah, I'm still surprised to see it actually making an appearance here. Moon is gonna go for a expansion first, I believe. No, he expanded second. He is already at tier 2. He is going to clear out this camp and make his way through the trees with his Tree of Life. Rock Golem is going to go down very soon, and it is going to drop the full potion of Invuln. So 15 seconds there for the Keeper. Death Knight is going to take out this... what was it? Dark Wizard? Renegade Wizard. It is going to drop the +6 agility. Not particularly useful for undead in general. I'm trying to remember if Dark Ranger is agility or intelligence. She is a bit of a tricky one for me, but yeah, neither of the undead natural heroes actually benefit off of agility. You could argue the Lich would like the attack speed, but yeah, I don't know. Compared to the other two stats, agility does seem pretty weak. Expansion has been spotted, which could be troublesome for Moon. He is going to have his gold mine delayed quite a bit. Oh wow, even going to toss an acid bomb onto those skeletons to try and keep the gold mine alive. We are going to have the Lich coming out second for 120. He is making his way to tier 3 right now. I don't actually know who is looking good so far. We are massing Hippogriffs, which is rather surprising. So we're having Hippogriff Rider comp here for Moon, which is definitely different from the last game that we seen, which was NetEase 100. I forgot what he went first, but he transitioned into just mass Dryads, and yeah, really showed how weak Undead is versus an Adolf matchup, in my opinion. Hippogriff Riders seems kind of weaker than Mass Dryads to me, because yeah, all you need to do is Mass Crypt Fiends, question mark. That's at least what I think. But we'll see. And of course the Hippogriff Riders can be attacked by destroyers themselves, which Dryads cannot. So there is that bit of a trade-off there. Auto Whip is being upgraded right now, and Black Citadel is on the way. Destroyer Form on the way. Still only like one statue for 120, however. Supply 47 versus 34, so yeah, 120 is quite behind, but that is understandable. He did take straight into tier 3 without an expansion, and yeah, ideally you don't want to burn all your food supply on ghouls and crypt fiends. You would want to save some space for the statues, possible abominations, and the destroyers. We do hear a couple of fairy dragons popping out here for Moon, so his comp looks a lot more diverse, a lot stronger, and of course, you know, a lot more numbers. So yeah, 120 is definitely on the back burner right now. He also is being pressured because he either needs to be on the aggressive or he needs to make his own expansion, otherwise he's just going to lose economically as well. That is a lot of flyers right now. How many Crypt Fiends do we have? We only have 2? 2 Crypt Fiends is definitely not going to be enough to deal with this mass air threat. And yeah, despite the nerfs onto the Alchemist, he still does a good amount of healing, and of course the armor reduction on his Acid Bomb is, yeah, it's undeniably valuable. Hell, even like Mass Druids of Talons was a comp because of Fairy Fire and Cyclone, so like armor reduction is very, very useful. A bit of a pickle here for Moon, however. He is being trapped into into this corner. He is going to be forced to use the TV scroll. Alchemist going to Chemical Rage, but how much can he get out of this? Oh, unfortunately, a Fairy Dragon is going to be left behind, out of range of that TV scroll. A bit of decent damage, I guess. We still have like 4 out of 5 Acolytes alive, so not that huge economic damage there on 120. But
our warriors have engaged the enemy.
yeah, it's still a 400 discrepancy between the main bases, and of course we're not even counting the expansion here for Moon. So yeah, 120 needs to get something going. Nova Coil onto the Renegade Wizard is going to drop the Fluid of Accuracy, which is definitely going to work towards his cause. Plus 10% attack damage is, yeah, it's definitely what he needed from that particular camp. That's a lot of Fairy Dragons, which I am extremely surprised about. I was expecting more Archers and Hippogriffs, but
Our sacred
yeah, it
grove
seems
is
like
being
we are
desecrated.
focusing a lot on those Fairy Dragons right now. Okay, here we go with the fight here. Acid Bomb is going to, is that an Acid Bomb? Either way, Destroyer getting absolutely mauled. He is going to get Death Coiled back to full health, but now the pressure is onto the Death Knight. He is going to be pretty much on overtime right now, keeping his units alive. Fairy Giant's going straight after the one Obsidian statue there. Destroyer is also about 30% health. We are going to have a couple of buffs being consumed by the Destroyer, but he just doesn't have the health necessary to keep swinging, I guess.
Research.
Chemical Rage onto the Alchemist. He is going to get bursted down with a Nova Coil, but it seems like he is still quite tanky enough, and an Invuln is going to be popped. Hippogriff Riders are still plentiful in numbers. It seems like the Fairy Dragons were the ones that took the hit there, and that seems like it's ideal, but it seems like Moon is going to be the one to pull out right now. Is going to lose his Fairy Dragons, however, that is a bit of an unfortunate circumstance, as yeah, normally you'll want to retreat with a lot more units than that. So Auto Whip doing its work. I imagine 120 is just full on with his Crypt Fiend production here.
Research finished.
At least like non-stop producing, at least. Like, I don't want to see that Crypt not producing anything, because I mean, it's a mass air threat. It might be a little too late. Might go mass Gargoyles. It might actually just be weaker than mass Crypt Fiends, to be honest. So
Our sacred grove is being desecrated.
yeah, here we go. Expansion being pressured here, but I don't actually see this attack succeeding all too much. We do have the TV scroll available on the Death Knight. He only has 200 mana, so only like 3 or 4 Death Cores in him for that, as first one already gets tossed. Crypt Fiend no one goes down, as we do have Auto Waves being cast onto those Fairy Dragons there. Not many of them are going to Mana Flip state, which is rather surprising, since there are a couple of statues out and about. Dark Ritual is going to be used to deny one of those Crypt Fiends, as we do have the Alchemist being preserved back home. It seems like the main target is now the Lich. He does have that 15-second invuln just in case, but he's not going to use it anytime soon, as it seems like 120 seems to be in a good place to just retreat. I say that, but he is slowly losing all his units. He is now down to about 1 Crypt Fiend, and he did toss his last Death Coil at nothing. Crypt Fiend gets instantly replaced, but yeah, this is not looking good for the undead player. Most of the units are just getting insta-killed by the barrage of those air units there. Lich trying to go after the Alchemist once again, but it is going to get preserved back home. Statue gets taken down, and a lot of losses have been suffered from both sides, but as you can see, having that second base just helps a lot for Moon, and yeah, still just going at it with those mass Fairy Dragons, which, I mean, they're doing work. At least because of the range difference on the Fairy Dragons, since they're the ones that go in the front ahead of the Hippogriff Riders, they are the ones absorbing the auto webs from the Crypt Fiends, so it's pretty good. They're cheap, they're pretty easy to replace. but I would like to see a little bit more Hippogriff Riders since the DPS isn't really there. Yeah, Fairy Dragons, they're kind of like dots, but dots at least have Fairy Fire to reduce the armor. Another Acid Flask is going to be tossed there. It's basically air, mass air dots, and the Fairy Fire is the chemical acid bomb from the Alchemist. Here we go with a massive fight here. Death Coil is going to save one of those Crypt Fiends, as you do here. A Hippogriff Fighter finally going down, so the number has dropped to about 3? 3 or 4. It seems like it's going to be 4. So yeah, DPS, I mean, I say that the Fairy Dragons don't actually do that much damage, but since there's just so many, the mass focus fire seems to be proving pretty useful there. Some Fairy Dragons are caught by the webs. They are going to go into the mana field forms. Definitely Moon should actually try and defend his Fairy Dragons because, I mean, he has the numbers advantage. 64 versus 50, so yeah, he should be able to steamroll this pretty easily. Another Crypt Fiend bites the dust there, level 4 onto the Alchemist. So that will be a level 2 Chemical Rage. Acid Flask onto the Crypt Fiend and Lich. Will the Lich be finally using his Invuln? It doesn't look like it, as the TP Scroll is being cast by the Keeper of the Grove. There we go. I think that was a Black Citadel hit. But yeah, despite the supply discrepancies, it seems like Moon can't really finish the deal. Yeah, I don't know. Would it be, I mean, would it be greedy to suggest that he could go Chimeras? I mean, they get absolutely destroyed once they get whipped, but I mean, they're just so potent that, I don't know, they might just rip through those Crypt Fiends. I mean, this mass Fairy Dragon seems to be doing a lot. Like, if you add like 1 or 2 Chimeras, that would be absolutely crazy to me. But it's a very, very big investment into getting the roosts and then, yeah, keeping up the pressure long enough so that you can actually produce those Chimeras. But, I mean, like, he does have a second base. So, once again, another engage. Mass Focus Fire onto the Death Knight there. Was trying to force the burn on that TP Scroll, but, yeah, instead he is just going to be playing cat and mouse. Death Knight is going to get entangled once again, is going to force the TP onto him, and that will be just pretty clean there from Moon. Yikes, Death Knight gets destroyed very, very quickly. Is going to sell the Helmet of Valor, which shows how desperate 120 is right now. He really needed to answer that second base because he is just suffering for it. It's kind of hard to estimate how much gold Moon is ahead because Moon's been at low upkeep for like the majority of the game now. So, but he has mined about, is this 2,500? It's 2,000. So he's mined about 7,500 gold from the second gold mine, not including the low upkeep tax. But yeah, that's a big difference
Our gold mine is running low.
In gold mined. Alchemist running around, has spotted the undead army, and here we go once again. Does the Death Knight have TP Scroll? He does not. Neither does the Lich. So this is going to be a very, very disastrous fight for the undead player if he loses this. One Hippogriff Rider does fall down. Crypt Fiends are trying to be focus fired there. One will go down. Death Knight is being focus fired right now, but he is going to pop that Invuln that was on that Lich before. I believe Moon's strategy right now is just to wait out the Invuln, go after the Death Knight because DK has actually no way of healing. Oh, Nova Coil onto the Keeper of the Grove. Very nicely timed Invuln to block the Death Coil. Obviously, it's going to be very hard to block a Nova with Invuln, but at least you block that pretty devastating level 3 Death Coil from the Death Knight. Oh, Nova Coil once again onto the Keeper, and will he actually go down? He will actually go down. Very nicely done there from 120. being extra persistent, he is going to take down a free level 4 hero for himself. All he needs to do is get out of this with, you know, very minimal losses. He is going to lose a turret, a statue, and a couple of crit fiends for it, but at least he saves both of his heroes. They are extremely close to ultimates, both of them. Lich is about halfway there, and the Death Knight is about 30% there. Obviously, DK's ult's not going to be that useful, especially since I don't think Raise Dead applies to air units, and yeah, that will most likely just be a level 3 Unholy Aura instead. Lich, on the other hand, actually, now that I think about it, it's kind of the same story for the Lich as well. Death and Decay, I'm not sure if it hits air units either, so, and I mean, it's like Blizzard, so all you need to do is walk out of it, and since air units are pretty fast in their own rights, they can just walk out of it after like 2 ticks, so yeah, Death and Decay in itself is not actually that useful either. So Moon's gonna do the smart thing and go after these Acolytes with his air units. We have not seen any proof that 120 has been going for towers so far this game, and yeah, Moon is just gonna take advantage of that.
Our gold mine has collapsed.
Gold mine has collapsed for Moon's main base. Obviously 120 did suffer a couple of harassments, so he is a bit behind on that himself, but I imagine he is gonna start haunting this gold mine. He might have to wait a bit since it seems like the air units are going to make their run there. Yeah, let me just take a drink of water.
I must safeguard the land.
Okay, Keeper comes back through the altar. Tree of Ages uproots himself, but there's actually no other bases to go for, so he needs to put pressure on this base because it's technically the only base that will be mined in the future, and yeah, the one on the timer right now is Moon, because I mean, he's gonna run out of gold quicker than his opponent because he mined his gold a lot earlier than his opponent, so that is that. 63 versus 44. I'm so amazed that 120 has been able to keep at it while staying at no upkeep for the entirety of the game. Moon, on the other hand, has just been struggling to finish the deal on this one, and thankfully he does cancel this expansion, and all he needs to do is do some damage here. Possibly, oh, he's just gonna go straight after the Acolytes, which is kind of cute. Level 5 onto the Alchemist there. That will give him level 3 Acid Bombs, and level 5 onto the Keeper. Team Scroll is going to be immediately used, as they do have Hippogriff Rider being taken down by the Death Coil there, so yeah, considering how squishy the Hippogriff Riders are right now, Chimeras would have been pretty nice to see, since they're tankier than Hippogriff Riders, but albeit they are pretty slow, so they can get caught out a lot easier. But yeah, attack onto the expansion. I'm not sure if Moon is going to answer that or just going to go straight after the main base of 120, but this might be the first time we're actually going to have a full committal on a base trade.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
Tree of Life is going to drop very, very soon. Tree of Ages is looking to try and replace him very soon, but the Destroyer is in the air, so we'll be able to spot the Tree of Ages right next door. Ancient of Winds are being uprooted, and I guess they're gonna try and defend the base. Meanwhile, at the Undead base, Black Citadel is going to be the main target of the Night Elf Claire. Fairy Dragons, however, are, yeah, they're piercing, they don't do that much, and
have engaged the enemy.
yeah, piercing just does a lot less compared against Fortified. Entangle onto the Death Knight, nice Devour there from the Destroyer to cancel that spell. And the Keeper is now in trouble. I don't know why it automatically panned over to the Alchemist, but we still have about 2 Death Coils available on the Keeper. He does have a TP scroll if he needs it. Potion of Invuln is going to be used, and that will be a free keeper, a keeper being saved. Yeah, because that was... It wasn't exactly scary since he's still at TP's gold in hand, but he needs all the gold he can save, because, like I said before, only one gold mine left, and this gold mine is already down to half of its stock. Attack once again at the base of Moon. It seems like a counterattack is going to come down for on 120's base. He might be able to finish the job now since yeah, he did most of the work in the first attack. Coil onto the Alchemist there, but I mean, he's a strength there for crying out loud. He is going to take a lot of damage. Black Citadel goes down. Tree of Ages might go down. But yeah, the Ancients, not sure why they're not being uprooted. Sure, fortified armor might be nice, but getting in range for some attacks is kind of important too. But either way, that is going to be the last main town hall for Moon. 120 on the other hand, pretty sure 120 should be being revealed as well. Obviously, placed down an Acropolis, which he just did, so there is that. The Zeppelin's being hired up to pick up the two heroes of the Night Elf player, as we do have yeah, just trees just hacking away at it. That spider got absolutely demolished there from those fairy dragons. Yeah, you can see the destroyer very much loving it, eating up all of them trees, but sadly there's not actually much targets to use that mana on. We are going into no upkeep here for Moon, and he has actually no gold available to rebuild his Tree of Life, so he has to make do with what he has, and that is... I mean, sure, Keeper of the Grove with the Force of Natures is going to be extremely useful in the late game, but Nova Coil is... it just does so much damage.
Our warriors have engaged.
So yeah. Alright, let's see how much this Nova Coil does onto a strength hero there. Yeah, it's down to about 650 health. So just like one more of those, I guess, and that Alchemist is good as dead. Is gonna pop the invuln, however, and is gonna Chemical Rage to try and benefit off that movement speed. But the Lich being very, very good with his blocking there, but 120 kind of overestimated his DPS and is gonna let the Alchemist live. Nicely done there from Moon to preserve his Alchemist back home, but because he never got up to Tree of Eternity, never got up to never got up to Tech 3. Moonwells are even more important in the late game, but since they don't have Wellsprings, they are pretty bad, or they're not as good as they should be.
Our warriors
I should say.
have engaged the enemy.
Because not only is the mana cap kind of nice, it's the increased regen on the mana pools of the Moonwells, so yeah, it's just very unfortunate that he didn't actually tick up just for that upgrade. So yeah, Mass Fairy Dragons, +2/+1 versus, what on earth does 120 have? +2/+1 as well on his Destroyers and Crypt Fiends. Mass Focus Fire onto the Destroyer there. Death Knight, is he close by? Is he gonna get there in time actually? No, he is not. He did get there in time, but he actually tossed out his Death Coil in time. So that is extremely bad misplay there from the undead player. Is gonna get level 6 on his Lich, however. I'm not sure if that's gonna matter too much since all that does is give him level 3 Dark Ritual. But yeah, another Crypt Fiend bites the dust. Death Coil is gonna get tossed. And yeah, we're gonna try and focus fire on these fairy dragons. Destroyer needs to be extremely careful. This is the only destroyer slash statue left in the game, and it seems like the fairy dragons just not gonna have it. I say that, but the Death Knight is gonna toss out one more Death Coil. Invuln does get popped there, but is that 15 seconds? No, that is just the 7 seconds, and it's already worn off. yes, definitely not looking good. Despite 120 able to stay in this game for a very long time, clutching it out.
Warriors have
It does
engaged
seem like he is just going to be out attritioned, I guess. Mass Fairy Dragons seem to be doing some work, I guess. Nova Coil onto Keeper. It seems like Moon was extremely very quick on that one. Was able to pick up his Keeper as before that Death Coil actually landed.
Is being desecrated.
But yeah, like I said before, Moonwell's still out of mana. Oh, we are gonna have Death and Decay being used by the Lich on those structures. Obviously not as much damage as Earthquake, but Earthquake is kind of there for buildings. Death and Decay is just a better Blizzard. And is that going to destroy it? Question mark. There we go. Nice, nice piles of destruction there. It's still channeling it. Okay, very nice. Yeah, we don't get to see Death and Decay all that much because of how bad it actually is, but yeah. In this kind of late game situation, base racing does seem to be the only way to win, but sadly, Moon being extremely cheeky is migrating with his buildings, so this base race does seem to be a lot more difficult to actually win.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
They have been caught out, so unless they root themselves, they are going to take a beating from that because of heavy armor. And it seems like the one building left for Moon to go after is this one necropolis. So yeah, that is going to be interesting to see. Lich left a couple of buildings here, so that's kind of bad. Kind of makes this base race a lot harder to complete. Because he's either forced to defend his only necropolis, or try and base race, like take down one building, take down 3 buildings versus 1 building. So, yeah. I hope we're not gonna have like 10 minutes of just cat and mouse games from these two players. Obviously, since it is a tournament setting, you don't usually see GGs unless like you're absolutely sure you're gonna lose. But 120, like I said before, has been pretty persistent with this game. Nova Coil onto the Keeper there. I believe that Nova Coil actually got fully through. TP Staff onto the Keeper, and that is a rather unfortunate loss, but a Necropolis is being attacked. Oh no, 120 actually has no idea if those 3 buildings are the only ones left. Is gonna try his best to run back home and try and take this out, but honestly, he should have just taken out the remaining buildings. Necropolis is a lot of health to go through, and oh wait, what? Did the Acolyte build something? Oh, he did. Cheeky fella, he actually placed down another Necropolis. So, yeah. This action is going to result in a couple of Fairy Dragons being taken out here. So, that's kind of good, actually, for 120. Still has to take down these 3 buildings. He only needs to take down those 3 buildings. He knows those are the only buildings on the map, because Moon is being revealed. So I'm actually not sure why he's just not going after those 3 buildings. Moonwells are extremely quick to take down, and the Hunter's Hole is... I mean, it takes some work, but, you know, it's good enough, I guess. Whip onto a Fairy Dragon there. Oh my god, is Moon actually gonna lose this game? Nope. He's going straight after the Necropolis. Oh my god, what is this? What is this game? Alchemist is joining the fray as well. Necropolis still has the vulnerable state since it is being constructed, and oh no, the freeze. Oh, I don't know why the game froze, but wow, the Alchemist did die, but the Fairy Dragons just... there were too many. There were too many. Wow. yeah, much apologies for that freeze. I really wish this game stopped freezing. I don't know why it keeps freezing, but yeah. Honestly, that was very down to the wire, extremely close game. Very entertaining. Definitely, I would have liked to see some chimeras though. I think Moon could have done that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys again next time.